Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Bulls continue to regain lost ground on Dalal Street. The sensex gains nearly 600 points. Nifty hits a one-month high. The rupee recovers against the dollar after hitting a record low in early trade. With 7 days left in his tenure and the MPC meeting set to begin tomorrow, sources say the government is set to take a decision on the RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das's tenure shortly. Das has been at the helm of RBI since 2018, the longest-serving governor in 7 decades. A major GST restructuring is likely on the cards. A group of ministers on rate rationalisation propose a separate 35% tax category for demerit goods like cigarettes, tobacco products and aerated drinks. The additional cess component on tobacco products is likely to remain as well. The group of ministers also propose to tweak GST on at least 148 items, recommend increasing the tax on high-end ready-made garments, cosmetics, watches, shoes, among others. The GST Council is set to meet on the 21st of December to consider these proposals. HDFC Bank management bets on a multi-fold increase in securitisation to raise resources. The management expects the current 15,000 crore rupees as revenue from the pooling of assets to hit 1 lakh crore rupees in a few years. That's an exclusive. The government delays the full-fledged launch of the internship scheme announced in the budget. Sources say the government is planning to expand the ambit to include 1,000 companies against the current 500. Banks and financial institutions are likely to be added to the list. The government plans to amend the Insurance Act to give the sector regulator the authority to specify investment limits for companies. If approved, the IRDAI will have the power to allow insurers to invest more in equity or other asset classes. Swiggy's losses in Q2 narrow to 625 crore rupees. The revenue from quick commerce business doubles. The overall revenue jumps nearly 40%. India's largest airline, Indigo, files a trademark infringement lawsuit against automobile maker Mahindra for using the 6E in its new car model to be released in February. Indigo's airline code is 6E, which also serves as a key element of its branding. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman tables the Banking Law Amendment Bill in Parliament after an all-party meeting broke the deadlock. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar informs Parliament that there is some improvement in the relationship with China after the Galwan Valley clash 5 years ago. Let's start with the market action. The bulls continue to regain some lost ground on the Dalal Street. The Nifty moving to the highest levels in a month after gaining over 180 points. The sensex gained nearly 600 points. Financial stocks led the charge today with the Nifty Bank up about 586 points or 1% higher. Mid-cap index put on about 500 points as well. So that was the market snapshot for you. In the money market, the rupee recovered from record lows, ending higher against the US dollar. But the Indian currency remains closer to a record low levels that we saw yesterday. That's the dollar rupee for you, and that's the bond market action on your screens as well. With 7 days left in his tenure, RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das will chair the upcoming MPC meeting, which is scheduled to begin tomorrow. The governor's tenure ends on the 10th of December. Sources tell CNBC TV 18 the decision on a potential extension of the governor's tenure is expected shortly. Shaktikanta Das took charge as the governor in 2018 and received a 3-year extension. He's already the longest-serving RBI governor in 7 decades. Axis Bank's Deputy Managing Director Rajiv Anand said a slowdown in growth is palpable after the second quarter GDP slowed to a 21-month low. However, he believes a repo rate cut from the Reserve Bank is unlikely, adding that banks will be delighted if the RBI reduces the cash reserve ratio.
I think the fact that we've seen this print on GDP growth has certainly surprised everyone, and I'm sure RBI is redoing their numbers as well. That with 6.2% on inflation, it's unlikely that we will get a repo rate cut anytime soon. I think it's a very close call on whether a CRR cut is something that we will get on Friday. On the one side, yes, I'd be delighted if the CRR cut comes through. The repo rate is at 6.5%. Banks on the margin are raising money at anything between 7.5% to 8% for 1-year deposits. And I think that gap needs to come down. And I think a CRR cut will certainly help, bringing that down. I think, given the fact that much of the book is EBLR linked, a repo rate cut will have a short-term impact as far as margins are concerned.
Well, that's Rajiv Anand of Axis Bank. A major restructuring of the GST rate structure, probably the biggest since the indirect tax regime came into existence in 2017. The cards That is expected to be on the cards. A group of ministers on rate rationalisation has proposed a separate 35% GST slab for demerit goods like cigarettes, tobacco products and aerated drinks. The cess component on tobacco products will continue as well. The GOM has also proposed to tweak GST on at least 148 items. They have recommended increasing the tax on high-end ready-made garments, cosmetics, watches, shoes, among others. However, here's a caveat. These are only proposals and the final decision will be taken by the GST Council. Timsy is standing by now to take us through the key proposals that will be taken up by the GST Council when it meets in Jaisalmer on the 21st of December. Timsy.
Well, it is going to be an action-packed GST Council meeting at Jaisalmer on 21st of December. The group of ministers on rate rationalisation has proposed a major overhaul of GST structure and the Council is expected to deliberate on them. Let me quickly take you through the key proposals. A new special rate of 35% along with rate rejig for as many as 148 items has been proposed. The special 35% GST rate will be applicable only on tobacco, tobacco products and aerated beverages. These currently attract a GST of 28%. The additional cess component on tobacco products, which ranges from 11% to 290%, will be continued. Similarly, on aerated beverages, also the cess will continue. The second big proposal is 5% GST for ready-made garments priced below 1,500 rupees and 18% GST for those in the range of 1,500 rupees to 10,000 rupees price bracket and 28% GST for those above 10,000 rupees. The GOM has also proposed hiking GST on luxury shoes from 18% to 28%. These would apply to shoes priced above 15,000 rupees. Similarly, wristwatches priced above 25,000 rupees may also move up to 28% GST bracket. The GOM's view is that a similar breakup according to price range should be carved out for items such as handbags, cosmetics, etc., with those in the luxury bracket should be attracting a 28% GST. A lot of common use items are set to get cheaper. The items such as 20-litre packaged drinking water may move from the current 18% slab down to 5%. The GOM has also proposed 5% GST bracket for bicycles below 10,000 rupees and exercise books, again at 5%. Similarly, the GOM on insurance suggested that premia on pure term life insurance be exempted from GST. Currently, it is taxed at 18%. This could lead to a potential revenue loss of 213 crore rupees. The GOM has also suggested tweaks on GST for health insurance premia for citizens below 60 year age. The panel has proposed that premia on health insurance cover of up to 5 lakh should be exempted from GST. It has proposed a 5% GST against the current 18% for premia on health covers above 5 lakh rupees. The panel has also proposed that senior citizens should be exempted from current 18% GST that they pay on health insurance premia. The potential revenue loss on the back of the relief on health insurance premia could come close to 2,100 crore rupees when it comes to the calculations for exemption to senior citizens and for below 5 lakh rupees cover. Important to note, these are just proposals and will now be discussed by the GST Council. So any final decision on GST rates will be taken by the Council. Also, the special rate is proposed to make up for the potential revenue loss which would occur due to these changes.
Timsy, many thanks. So how will these proposed changes impact the economy, the GST architecture and your wallet? We discuss all of that and more with a panel of top tax experts and former tax officials at 5 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. right here on the CNBC TV 18 GST Centimeter. On to our action in Parliament. After an all-party meeting with the Lok Sabha Speaker last evening, the Parliament deadlock has been broken. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman tabled the Banking Law Amendment Bill. However, opposition members staged a walkout after Speaker turned down their demand to discuss the Adani controversy and the Manipur violence. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar spoke about the border patrolling agreement with China. He said the relationship with China has seen some improvement since the Galwan Valley clash between both armies 5 years ago.
The House is aware that our ties have been abnormal since 2020, when peace and tranquility in the border areas were disturbed as a result of Chinese actions. Recent developments that reflect our continuous diplomatic engagement since then have set our ties in the direction of some improvement. The disengagement has been achieved in full in eastern Ladakh through a step-by-step process, culminating in Depsang and Demchok.
Well, that's the External Affairs Minister speaking in Parliament. On to a CNBC TV 18 exclusive. HDFC Bank is looking to make securitization a new avenue to raise resources. The bank sees many of its parameters like loan growth and loan deposit ratio returning to the pre-merger levels by 2027. The bank is also garnering increased synergies from the merger, with 95% of the new home loan customers opening an HDFC Bank account. Latha caught up with CEO Shashi Jagdishan and CFO Srini Vaidyanathan and joins us now to take us through the commentary coming in from HDFC Bank. Latha.
Well, it was a many-sided conversation. I'll give you the key takeaways from the HDFC Bank top brass. One, that already at the moment they are selling some 12,000 crore of their auto loans in the securitization process. They're looking at it as a possible avenue of raising resources. It could go to 1 trillion in a few years, Shashi Jagdishan said. Now, they have to reduce their loan book compared to their deposit. RBI wants a more comfortable credit deposit ratio. Pre-merger, the bank had an 85 to 90% CD ratio, which was comfortable credit deposit ratio. It had gone up because of the merger to nearly 110. The bank said, that is Srinivasan Vaidyanathan, CFO, said that their plan is to bring it down to this comfortable 85-90% by 2027. Therefore, they will grow their loan books slowly compared to the market this year. Next year, it will be along with the as good as the market. And by FY27, they will grow faster than the banking sector. That's the plan they have, which means they're mostly returning to their ratios by pre-merger ratios by FY27. On the more important part of bank assurance, a story which CNBC TV 18 broke, if you remember, that the banks should not be the big source of selling insurance policies. Shashi Jagdishan's point was that HDFC Bank always had an open architecture. That is, to their bank customers, they sold whichever product from whichever insurance company that suited the customer. But and they also have a very strong diligence process of video recording, etc., to prove that they don't coerce the customer. However, he said if no regulator has spoken to them, if a rule comes, then if they abide by it, they would. But it might impact insurance penetration because banks are the big source of selling insurance in the country, he pointed out. The other big point that he made was on unsecured loans. The HDFC Bank stunned us after the Q2 results by actually growing their unsecured loans faster than the previous quarter. And their defense, to their credit, that did not increase their slippages or bad loans. And their point was they spotted ahead of the curve the problem in that sector and went slow last year. And now when nobody wants to give unsecured loans, they are able to pick up some very good credit, high-yielding credit from the unsecured loan sector. And then most important was synergies. What's the point in merging with HDFC was the question I asked them. And they said that they've been able to draw a lot of synergies. Now, 95% of the new home loans that they are getting are opening an HDFC Bank savings account. Savings account is important. All banks are hankering after deposits. And of the old customers, about 3 million customers of HDFC, 1.7 million have opened HDFC Bank accounts. Plus, they have been able to sell loan products. After all, when you trust a borrower with a home loan of several lakhs, they are very good credit card customers. So at a click of a button, they have been able to sell them credit cards and even consumer durable loans. And usually when you're decorating a new home, you borrow like 4x the consumer durable loan that you would otherwise borrow. These were the key takeaways on the merger synergies. And finally, they did say that they are noticing some bit of a slowdown in urban loan demand. The consumption problem is there, but there is very good demand for luxury products. Those were the key takeaways.
All right, Lata, many thanks for joining us. We will head into a break, but up next, Swiggy's losses in Q2 narrow to 625 crore rupees. Revenue from quick commerce business doubles. More on that when we return. Swiggy's losses in the second quarter have narrowed to 625 crore rupees. Revenue from quick commerce has doubled and the overall revenue has jumped nearly 40%. Mangalam is standing by now to take us through the numbers. The first quarter after listing, Mangalam, how does it stack up?
Well, the picture of the loss is largely led with investments because the company had said that, they are looking to add a lot more to their overall quick commerce, dark stores, etc. as well. So two things are extremely important in Swiggy to look at. The first most important thing is that how the overall revenue picture has come by. 30% growth is slightly higher than, its peers when it comes to the overall revenue growth. The second thing you have to look at is where is this revenue growth coming from? That revenue growth is coming in from the quick commerce business, where on a low base versus last year, the quick commerce revenue has actually grown by about 135%. The second thing that you look at is how the operational performance of the food business has been. So if you look at the food delivery, out here the revenue has been around 22.3%. That too, on a slightly lower base than Zomato. On a percentage basis, it's a tad higher than what, Zomato has reported. But out here, the heartening fact is both QOQ as well as year on year, the EBIT has increased. So if you look at EBIT in the food business, it's coming at around 122 crores, implying a margin of 7.7%. So that's telling you that on an operational basis, the food delivery business is on steady improvement. So long as the revenue growth continues out there and stays steady, margins will come by. The other thing is that in quick commerce, while the revenue growth has come by, remember the EBIT has stayed steady. So that means that the company is using all the excess money that they're making in their existing stores to go ahead and improve their dark store network itself. And these are numbers which have come in from pre-IPO. So post-IPO, with the kind of funds that they will infuse in expanding their dark stores, etc., will start reflecting from the third quarter itself. So short point, if you have to look at Swiggy's second quarter numbers, the food delivery operating performance has improved. There has been good revenue in quick commerce, but all of this over the near future has to tie up to operational improvement, and that is the question that we'll probably probe answers from the management.
Mangalam, many thanks. Now, Indigo has filed a lawsuit against Mahindra Electric over the use of the term 6E in the name of its newest upcoming launch, the Mahindra BE6E. The case has been presented in the Delhi High Court and a hearing has been scheduled on the 9th of December. Indigo senior advocate Sandeep Sethi informed the court that Mahindra has reached out to discuss the issue. The union government has delayed the full-fledged launch of the internship scheme announced in the budget. Sources say the government is planning to expand the ambit to include 1,000 companies against the current 500. Banks and financial institutions are also likely to be added to the list. Shivani is standing by with more details. Shivani, the pilot is underway. Take us through some of the big changes that are already being considered.
Sources have told CNBC TV18 that the government is planning significant changes to its flagship internship scheme to make it more inclusive and effective. One of the key proposals by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs is expanding the scope of participating companies. Now, currently, remember, it is limited to the top 500 firms. The program now could see inclusion of top 1,000 companies. Additionally, banks and financial institutions are likely to join the program, creating a broader pool of opportunities for interns. Also, another big change that can happen is the eligibility criteria. The age limit may be revised from the current 21 to 24 years to 18 to 26 years. Educational qualifications too could see a relaxation. At present, students pursuing degrees or those without a high school diploma are excluded, but the new rules might allow them to participate, attracting a wider range of applicants. Now, these changes aim to make the scheme more accessible to more people, aligning with the government's goal of building a skilled workforce and enhancing employability. Now, remember that the pilot project of the internship program was launched on December 2nd. According to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the first cohort of interns hailing from 625 districts is now interning across 34 states and union territories in India. The internship portal, sources suggest, has already received over 6 lakh registrations. Sources also say that these changes come on the back of lessons learned from the registrations of the pilot project and are likely to come into effect only after the pilot project is over. Back to you.
Shivani, many thanks. Now, the government is set to install tracking devices on the top of solar panels to monitor power generated on a real-time basis. The data will be consolidated under a super dashboard for better planning for power transmission. Abhimanyu standing by with more details. Abhimanyu.
Government sources have indicated that tracking devices are likely to be installed soon in rooftop solar plants as the government aims to aggregate real-time production of renewable energy across India. The government is planning to install a mechanism to calculate the percentage of renewable energy out of the total installed capacity on a real-time basis. Sources have indicated that the scheme will extend to distributed renewable energy from household projects under PM Kusum scheme and the PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. The government will collect all available data from grid-connected and off-grid sources of power at one place, and the data will be sourced from inverters for solar power and wind power. The data would be consolidated under a super dashboard for better planning and transmission. SIM cards would be placed in inverters which are a part of RE generation plants, including the rooftop solar plants. The data from bigger RE generation plants is already available but is currently being collected by different agencies. Currently, the data on generated power at a grid level is only available for conventional sources of power, while the data on renewable energy is fragmented sector-wise, which would be aggregated under this scheme.
Abhimanyu, many thanks. In national news, Cyclone Fengal has weakened after making a landfall. However, heavy rains are expected in parts of Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. In Tamil Nadu, close to 10 people have died due to rain-related accidents. Rescue operations are underway to evacuate stranded citizens. At least 15 districts in Tamil Nadu have been put under yellow alert. Preparations for the Maharashtra government swearing-in ceremony are underway at Mumbai's iconic Azad Maidan. The oath ceremony is scheduled to take place on Thursday evening. However, the suspense over the next chief minister of the state continues. The BJP Legislative Party will meet tomorrow to select their leader, who in all likelihood will take oath as the chief minister. Meanwhile, Maharashtra's caretaker chief minister Eknath Shinde was rushed to hospital in Thane today. However, Shinde left the hospital within an hour and said it was a routine checkup. Well, the Maharashtra pot boiler continues with the suspense. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue on CNBC TV 18. Do stay tuned. We're back in a moment with more.